we're building is the global town square. The way that we can make it global is because of what's happening with technology and because of what's happening with media. We can have conversations between people that wouldn't have happened otherwise. You can see perspectives of things that you wouldn't have been able to see otherwise, and you can do it now in real time, and all of the content is public and available for the world. And so when we think about, as a product team, now I'm going to shift to the nuts and bolts of things that we do. When we think about as a product team what we're building, you have to keep that vision in mind. You have to keep the inspiration amongst the product managers in the day in and day out of what you're doing to make sure that you're building the best product for the world. I have a thing that I tell the people that I work with all the time, which is the world deserves the best Twitter that we can deliver to it. Because the world is a better place with a better Twitter in it. And we have to continually iterate and innovate on that product every day to make it better for people. So it's complicated. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the scope of what the team does and a little bit about how we operate, and tell a couple stories along the way in order to inform, when I'm out there pitching the vision or we're out there pitching the vision, how we actually do this. So I've got a team and we work on Twitter.com. We work on mobile.twitter.com. We actually work on 2 versions of mobile.twitter.com. One for touch-enabled smartphones, one for feature phones, in order to essentially, phones that can't run JavaScript and can't, basically need to be able to have that. It's old, HTML tables. It makes my heart warm being an old web guy that you actually have to still use tables and some of that stuff. So Twitter for iPhone, Twitter for Android, Twitter for BlackBerry, Twitter for Windows Phone, Twitter for Nokia Series 40, Twitter over SMS, which, was anyone ever using Twitter just as SMS back in the day? Oh, God bless you. Start to 4044. Twitter for iPad, Twitter for Windows 8, Twitter for Mac, TweetDeck, the Twitter REST API, the Twitter Streaming API, Twitter for websites, and Twitter cards on the platform side. This doesn't include this list: Vine, music, any of our ad products, which is a whole other flip side of this. So when we think about when we're building Twitter, it gets really complicated. You have this sense of wait a minute, how are we going to make this work? You got all these different things. You have to continually remind people to simplify when they're thinking about doing product development. So we have all these things all the time, should we add a button? What should it do? How should it work? Should we revamp this feature, rethink it? Should we redesign the product? Should we launch something new? You have all these things when you come back to what are we actually trying to do with a business? You have this range of what you can actually do because I'm blessed with these unbelievable engineers, and we can actually go and build whatever we want, right? So you have to be thinking all the time about what is the scope of what we're actually trying to do.